Welcome back, Nick Lenz's Movie Reviews. This is episode number 26. And like I said in the last episode, this is a classic. I'm reviewing a film that was released in 1931. This film is 85 years old. And what film is that? Dracula, starring Bela Lugosi as the Count himself. Like I said, this film is a classic. Now I know this is the Legacy Collection, which collects a majority, pretty much all the Dracula films, well, films that started Dracula that came out from 1931 and 1948. But I'm only reviewing just Dracula here. Okay, but this film is fantastic. And here's the thing, now, some of these films that came out back then weren't usually not very long. This film was only an hour and 12 minutes. It's shorter than The Fog. Mind you, yes, it's not like movies nowadays where it tends to be about 2 to 3 hours long. This film you could probably do a whole marathon of this and the follow-up movies probably one day. This film you could probably just sit down for an hour. Well, it's an hour and 12 minutes, so it's pretty decently length. And the Abraham Van Helsing character, he was known. Now, Universal back during this period of time was known for recycling actors. Bela Lugosi starred in several movies. He starred in several Universal classic films. This film pretty much was the jumpstart of his career, and there's an interesting story of how I heard about this about a couple years ago of how he got this role playing Dracula. Universal was looking to adapt the Dracula novel into a film. Now, Bram Stoker's Willow was very she wasn't really interested in it, and then Bela Lugosi, who had been playing the character on stages. Excuse me, who had been playing the character on the stage for about 5 years at this point. He actually was interested in playing Dracula on screen, along with maybe a few of the actors played with him. So he went to Bram Stoker's Widow, spoke to her, and it suggested that if she allows, now she'll allow basically if she agrees to Universal adapting this film, he volunteered to play this very role. And now that's my suggestion would happen, because he just met with it. Now what they said has never been revealed to the public. It's all it's known is that Bela Lugosi went to her, spoke to her about this, and somehow she went to Universal. Yeah, okay, I'll allow you to adapt my late husband's novel into a film if you have Mr. Lugosi play Dracula. And okay, fine. We heard about it. Okay, fine. We'll accept that. So they just rolled right away with it. And that's how he got the part for the film. He just asked the creed. He asked Bram Stoker's Willow to play this character in the film. So kudos on the part of the late Bela Lugosi. I mean, the guy himself does a great job in the movie. Now, there's some people who don't like this movie very much, not just because it's black and white or a bit slow, but the film, they just don't like it because they don't think it's that good. But they do agree the best thing about the film is Bela Lugosi's performance, which I do agree with. The film itself is interesting to watch, mind you, like the crazy character Radcliffe. Now, the film itself does deviate from the novel a lot, but it's still a good movie to watch. I mean, yeah, this film pretty much sets up a lot of vampire lore that we know of today, like vampires are afraid of sunlight, and they can only be killed via either sunlight or having stakes driven through their heart, which they emphasize in the film several times, despite the fact in the original novel, Dracula's killed by knives. I'm not kidding. The guy was stabbed to death. That's how they killed him in the novel. Which they actually made reference to this in the Scars of Dracula film by Hammer, which I'll eventually get to soon. I own a majority of the Hammer Dracula films because I like Christopher Lee. Now, the thing about Bela Lugosi, this is one of 2 times he's ever played the character, despite the fact he's the most recognizable actor to play the character. And a lot of this stuff associated with the character Dracula, he started. Excuse me. But it's still a great movie. It's a classic. Pretty much all the actors who were pretty much in this movie, as far as I know, everybody who was involved in this movie are all dead. Yeah, I'm not kidding. There was this one actor from, I think it was from the last of the Mummy movies. Actually, it was the second to last of the Mummy movies ever made, where this guy was the last of the golden age Universal film actors to still be alive, but he passed away several years ago. Bela Lugosi passed away in the 50s. Yeah, he passed away, I think it was, Oh yeah, it was just prior to the release of the film Plan 9 from Outer Space. A good, one of the most infamous bad movies of all time. The only way he's in there is by stock footage, and he's wearing the Dracula costume. I'm not kidding about that. But the film is still great to watch. I highly recommend it. People who have never seen it. Now, some people probably would not be interested in this movie for a couple reasons. One, the pacing is not the same as is pacing in movies today. And 2, the film is in black and white. That's really a turn off for some people today. Me, I don't mind it at all, because I have been watching this film since I was a teenager, and I checked this movie a lot out from the library. Even when it wasn't Halloween, I just enjoyed watching this movie. It was so good to watch. I'm like, this movie looks interesting. It doesn't have a rating to it. No one's gonna stop me from watching it. So I watched this first on VHS and I watched it on DVD. I put it in the VCR. Yeah, I'm that old. I remember VCRs. I put it in the VCR and I'm like, wow, this movie is so good to watch. And I know Universal is planning on making a monster movie universe because they're trying to compete with Marvel. But yeah, as for the film itself, I don't want to spoil too much of the film, but the story is basically how the Radcliffe character, who later goes insane, he goes to Transylvania to sell Dracula's castle. Now, he's in the place of Jonathan Harker, which they make him one of the most least interesting characters of the film. Now, they did this on purpose because Radcliffe was such a likable character anyway, so they made him more interesting than Jonathan Harker, who was the actual person who went to go visit Dracula in Transylvania. Oh, and you also get a brief cameo in one scene of the 3 brides of Dracula. Yeah, they only appear on screen for like 30 seconds, and they're never seen again, and they're never mentioned at all. It's like, what was the whole point of showing his brides and not doing anything with them? As far as I know, these 3 women never returned in the series after this film, though Dracula's offspring. I will talk about that in the sequel, Dracula's Daughter. But this film, basically, after he sort of drives Radcliffe insane, he takes a boat to England in the middle of the night. Okay, and there's a rainstorm, and apparently, well, Dracula is asleep in his coffin. Radcliffe is keeping everybody, and apparently this whole ship's crew are all massacred off screen, and it's heavily implied that Dracula himself did this. And they hardly show any bodies, though if this movie was made today, they would show the bodies. Probably with a lot of blood marks, a lot of blood everywhere. That's what they would probably do. But Yeah, it does follow the novel pretty closely in some places, but there's some stuff on the novel they do remove and save it for future movies, like going back to Transylvania. Now, as for when Dracula dies, yeah, he does die in the film. That's not a really big spoiler because, well, Dracula dies at the end of the story. Now, where he dies is actually quite different. In the novel, he dies in Transylvania. It's been a while since I've read it. I kind of remember the novel. In the film, he dies in an old abbey he purchased. I think it's called Carfax Abbey. I think it's called. It's been a little while since I watched this. So Harker and Abraham Van Helsing, who does show up in the film, and the guy who plays him does a great job. And here's the thing: I looked it up at the point when the movie came out. The guy, despite the fact the guy has got white hair, the guy was only in his late 30s when he played the character, and yet his hair was completely white. Maybe he died. I don't know. But the guy who plays Abraham Van Helsing, he's one of the most interesting characters aside from Bela Lugosi himself. I mean, yeah, he does kill him by sticking him in the heart. And of course, this does get followed. Though they do change his name in the sequel for some dumb reason. I don't know why. Even though his name is Van Helsing, in the sequel, they changed it to Von Helsing. I don't know why they changed it for, but they did. Now, they never reveal his first name in the film. They just refer to him as Professor Van Helsing. They never refer to his real name. I think they say his name is Abraham. That's what I've heard that his name really is. His first name really is. But the film itself, so great to watch. Classic, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend people who have never seen this film. I do recommend you watch it. Now, I also know that James Rolfe, aka Angry Video Game Nerd, he did review the Dracula film as part of Movie Madness. I'm not sure which year he did it, but he did review the original film. Okay, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for episode 27, where I'm going to do, actually this episode 27, 28, where I'm going to do Dracula's Daughter next. Okay, until then, see you there. Bye.